We begin at the Warsaw Security Forum, where Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered one of his most urgent speeches yet, calling on Europe to stay united and vigilant in the face of Russian aggression. His words were met with sustained applause, reflecting the gravity of his message. Zelensky began with a stark warning. Europe must not close its eyes to what is happening there and in Belarus. Every gain for Russia in our region is always a loss for Europe. That is why we cannot afford to lose a single day or a single country. The Ukrainian leader pointed to Moldova's recent pro-European electoral victory as a milestone that must be supported, not celebrated in isolation. After Moldova's elections, we must keep supporting Moldova. After elections, the hardest task is to meet voters' expectations. Europe can and must help Moldova with this for our common interests. He reminded his audience that while Europe is rightly focused on immediate threats, it must not neglect long-term political goals that ensure security across the continent. Turning to the issue of regional defence, Zelensky warned that Moscow was probing NATO's resolve through a pattern of provocations. He recalled, "The drone wave against Poland on the night of September 10th was a test not only for Poland, but for all NATO. Russian jets violated Estonia's airspace, and the new drone incidents in Northern Europe are another test for NATO as a whole. Russia is testing how far it can go. It wants to shift attention away from the brutal war it wages against Ukraine." Zelensky dismissed the growing chorus of voices questioning support for Kyiv. These are false voices. Almost all security threats in Europe today come from Russia's destructive actions from the war Putin refuses to end. Proposing a practical solution, he urged for joint defence efforts. Ukraine proposes to Poland and all our partners to build a joint, truly reliable shield against Russian air threats. This is possible. Ukraine can counter all types of Russian drones and missiles, and if we act together in the region, we will have enough weapons and production capacity. If Russia loses the ability to strike in disguise, it will be unable to continue the war. Zelensky also raised serious allegations that Russian forces may be using tankers in the Baltic Sea as mobile drone launch platforms. If tankers used by Russia are serving as drone platforms, then such tankers should not be free to operate in the Baltic. Europe has the right to close straits and sea roads to protect itself. He urged the European Union to keep pace with Washington's measures against Moscow. We expect the 19th EU sanctions package soon. It must be strong to pressure Russia and to show America that Europe will not do less than the United States. The Ukrainian president also pressed for faster action on seizing frozen Russian assets to fund Ukraine's defense and reconstruction. Zelensky's speech was not just about war, but also about the political future of his country. He underscored that Ukraine's aspiration to join the European Union is a matter of security, not mere diplomacy. Ukraine's membership in the EU is a huge part of our security guarantees. A geopolitical vacuum is always an invitation to Russian aggression. That is why Ukraine must join the EU, and it will. He urged European leaders to ensure that internal political debates within individual member states do not delay Ukraine's accession. It is important that Ukraine's accession is not delayed by the national politics of this or that country. This is not about what we have already gone through in history. It is about what we all must avoid, any dependence on Russia. Ending his opening remarks, Zelensky struck a defiant note. Ukrainians will not fail. Ukraine will defend its independence, and with it, the freedom of its neighbours and a free Poland, of course. The audience responded with resounding applause. The session's moderator then commended Zelensky's courage and leadership, extending condolences for Ukraine's continued losses from nightly Russian drone strikes. He asked Zelensky what weaponry Ukraine needs most to secure its skies. Responding in Ukrainian, Zelensky made it clear that unity is as powerful as any military hardware. Number one is weapons that any aggressor really fears. In this case, we're talking about Russia and Putin. It's unity. This is our strong weapon. Russia did not succeed in dividing the majority of the countries. That's why we are strong, and that's why Ukraine has such support. He explained that coordinated action is now crucial. That night, according to our data, there were 92 drones flying in that direction. Our air defense forces were downing everything they could. 19 drones entered Polish airspace. If we acted in coordination, I think we would have had better results. Zelensky highlighted the Pearl program, an initiative that enables Ukraine to acquire American air defense systems and missiles. 7 European countries have already joined this initiative, and we would very much like other countries, and also Poland, to support it. This will help us get through the winter. He emphasized the need for innovation and rapid action. Today, Ukraine has interceptor drones. That's a know-how. But believe me, in 3 months, Russia will have all this. During peace, everybody reacts slowly. Interceptor drones are an answer to how to defend the skies. Here, we need additional financing. When asked whether he would accept the current front line as a new border for a ceasefire, Zelensky was firm. Our borders are defined in our constitution. Everybody knows Ukrainian borders that were recognized by all countries in the world and by international law. We can move to diplomatic track from this line, the contact line, where leaders can agree on ceasefire and teams can start their work on the plan to end the war. But Russia will not be drawing new borders in Ukraine. The audience erupted once again in applause. The moderator pressed further, asking about Zelensky's relationship with former US President Donald Trump and whether he trusted Trump's current stance. Zelensky offered a measured response. His rhetoric has changed, the signals have changed, and the attitude to Ukraine and security in Europe have changed. His attitude now is just. This is what I heard from him. I cannot say what tomorrow will bring because the world is changing much faster than anyone forecasted. But as of today, the stance of President Trump is, in my view, truly balanced, and it supports Ukraine's stance, although he wants to remain a mediator between us and Russia to end the war. Asked to comment on Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko's claim that President Putin had a US-backed peace proposal, Zelensky responded with a touch of humor. Honestly, he lives in his world. He built it this way, isolated himself. Sometimes Putin pays a visit to this world and they chat about something. It's difficult to comment. Let him talk. The remark drew laughter and applause from the audience. The discussion turned to one of the most heartbreaking aspects of the war, the plight of thousands of Ukrainian children abducted to Russia. Zelensky spoke with visible emotion. Recently, on the sidelines of the UNGA, we had an important summit on bringing back our children. A clear registry is needed. Thousands of them have been abducted to Russia. Ukraine will not manage alone. We are grateful to all the countries who participated. The issue of children is not for days or months. It is a question for years to come. Russia has been hiding them in various ways, definitely illegal ways. He added, we've managed to return 1,600 children, but in comparison with how many we have not returned, it's not a full result. The moderator noted the sensitivity of the issue and acknowledged the suffering endured by those children, some of whom have shared their harrowing experiences after being rescued. Finally, Zelensky addressed the broader risks posed by Russia's behavior, warning that aggression may not remain confined to Ukraine's borders. You saw that Estonia, Poland, Denmark, Norway and Sweden experienced violations. I'm not talking about a massive attack, but about tendencies. There is no smoke without fire. These are risks, violations of airspace, borders and international law. This must face a reaction, not from the standpoint of which country is under attack, but from the standpoint that Europe is under aggressive Russian actions. He insisted that Europe and the United States must act together.